All right. So I just want to make a quick draw on liquidity video, going over these three things: how I find my draw on liquidity, high probability draws on liquidity, and how to determine if a draw on liquidity is valid. So how I find my draw on liquidity: I look at current market structure. I look if we're putting in lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. I look at how the market is moving. I read which PD arrays are holding. So essentially I read order flow in order to determine where the market is drawing. In this example, I believe this looks like it would be a daily gap. Yeah, so we've got a daily gap here. We're delivering from the daily gap. Open up another 4 hour. So, so higher low, higher low, higher high, etc. So market is obviously moving bullish. So once I see us delivering from this 4 hour, creating a higher low and displacing out of it, this automatically shows me that this is my target higher, right? I'm looking at market structure. Market structure is obviously bullish. Do we have any standalone swing highs higher? Yes. So that is my draw on liquidity. Now, this is also a perfect example of a higher time or a high probability draw on liquidity, because again, this is so obviously bullish. The 4 hour or the 1 hour is bullish, 4 hours bullish, 15-minute is bullish, 5-minute is bullish, 1 minute is bullish. Like every time frame is aligned. So what makes it a high probability draw on liquidity? Time frame alignment. When all of your time frames are aligned, that is when the market is moving its most efficient. It is literally screaming at you to enter. Odds are when I'm taking an entry, I'm only entering when all time frames are aligned, right? And if they're not on the lower time frame, that brings us into topic number 3, how to determine if a draw on liquidity is valid. If the lower time frames are choppy, or if you're in between two draws on liquidity, and again the lower time frames are choppy, you don't know where the markets are going. So what do you do then? You look on the lower time frames and you wait for a condition, or you wait for displacement in the direction of your draw on liquidity. Now, for example, right? This isn't really clean on the lower time frame, so I'm going to try to explain it on, in the best possible way that I can on the higher time frame. So again, we have this condition higher. We're obviously delivering from a daily gap, and we open up this 4 hour condition. Now, do we know for sure after we open this gap, if we are going to tap into this gap or go higher? No. However, the markets move to fill imbalances and take liquidity. So now this is a potential draw on liquidity. So what do I do? If the lower time frame is chopping, we're just literally consolidating, I wait for a market structure shift or obvious displacement out of the range to, validate where markets are going. And then I'll look on the low time frame for an entry. So when I am not sure where markets are going, I'm sitting on the low time frame, waiting for price to either flip in the direction that I'm expecting, or show me that it wants to do something else. And then, I'll look for an entry, because if I don't have a confirmed draw on liquidity, I do not have confidence to take a trade. Now, what do I do after we take in the draw on liquidity and I didn't get an entry? Now, if there's other draws higher, which, for this AM session, we did take this on NASDAQ. I'm currently on the ES chart because I already have markings on NASDAQ and I didn't want to redo that. So if we take this draw on liquidity on ES and we're kind of just chopping around, then that's just no trade for the day. Again, it's not that serious. I'm not looking to, take a trade if I don't have a draw on liquidity. Now, if we displace past this on the 5-minute or obvious displacement on the 1 minute, then I'm looking to target higher price. I'm looking for these next highs. So that after we displace past a draw on liquidity, that gives me a, confirmed bias. That gives me, okay, we're looking to take this draw. Market's actively reaching, actively displacing. So that is when, you can start looking for an entry, once that's validated. So quick little recap of the video, how I find my draw on liquidity. I look at market structure, right? I look at what markets are doing. Are markets obviously trending? Are markets consolidating? shit like that. And if markets are trending, obviously I'm looking to target, where the markets are trending towards. If they're consolidating, I'm waiting on the lower time frame to show me what my draws are, show me, where we want to go. And how to determine if a draw on liquidity is valid if we are actively displacing towards it. It's just a quick video, obviously it's not going to go super in depth, but this is quite literally such impactful knowledge that you, again, keep your shit simple. You don't need anything more than this, right? So I just want to make a quick video. I'll be posting it here soon. And yeah, hopefully you get some value from this.